Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Craft Beer Voyager Show. I'm your host, Michael Thacker. I'm sitting here with
Brent Thompson.
Brent Thompson, right?
Yeah,
okay, Brent Thompson. Yeah, I keep on. I wanted to say Brent, but okay, Brent Thompson of Texas Ale Project over here in Dallas, Texas. How you doing today? Doing pretty good?
I'm doing really well. How about yourself?
Doing good. Enjoying the warmer weather finally coming about, you know.
For sure. It's definitely toasty out there today.
Yeah, it is. It's starting to warm up a bit. But it's been fairly decent, you know, for Texas weather.
Yeah,
so
lots of rain.
Yeah.
You know, it'll be nice once the rain's done for a while anyway.
Yeah.
But you can't complain too much, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Get it while you can get it.
Before the 115-degree weather shows back up this year, so.
For sure.
Yeah, so, you know, I just want to kind of sit here and chat with you about your R&D series a little bit and see kind of what got you to think up this idea in the first place. So what kind of inspired you?
Well, you know, here at Texas Ale Project, we really just make what I consider to be really balanced beers across the board for our core. You know, you've got Fire Ant Funeral, which is our amber, 100 Million Angels Singing, our double IPA, 50-Foot Jackrabbit IPA. It's kind of our ode to the American IPA. And they're just all really solid beers. And we started thinking about, well, how can we put some different things out on the market and have some fun with it? And so after, you know, several months of discussions and trying to figure out how we were going to do the series, we basically ended up at the R&D Series. And this also allows us to, you know, as brewers, to have a lot of fun with the beers. And you can also see it in the branding of the packaging as well.
Yeah, I know you have great marketing tool there.
It's not typical of our core beers, if you will.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, honestly, when you really think about it, a lot of these things, the names, the beers themselves, they all have a story behind them.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And you know, we kind of just live our lives, and as things come up, we take note of some of them and try to turn those into beers.
Yeah. Brew up a story, to say the least.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's definitely awesome. And I've definitely seen a lot of different local brewers kind of doing a similar tactic with it. Not exactly the same by no means, but they're starting to have experimental beers that come out with. You know, they have their core, they have a few that they're coming out with, and but the way y'all market y'all's is definitely pretty intriguing, to say the least. I like how y'all have packaged it and designed it and have done it, and so far y'all have had 3 come out, and then now you're about to have another one here sometime around the beginning of June.
Yeah, the current release is Rosé Amour, which is a raspberry sparkling ale, and you can get that at your favorite beer shop or grocery store, or basically pretty much wherever you buy beer. And if you don't see it, you should definitely ask for it. Which is, it's like, well, what the heck is a raspberry sparkling?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know, and so basically what it is it's a pretty straightforward beer that we added some delicious hops to, and comes in at about 5.5%, about 20 IBUs. So it's nice and dry and not overly bitter.
Yeah.
And you just get that nice hint of raspberry from the fresh raspberry that we use in that.
Oh, okay, good.
And it's incredible. It is a little pink. That's why we called it, you know, Rosé Amour.
Yeah.
But technically, I guess if you wanted to call it, what's the style? But what is that anyway, right? I mean, but yeah, we're calling it a raspberry sparkling ale. And it's really nice and crisp, and there's actually dragon fruit in there as well. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
And now, is there like some story behind that? I mean, what kind of deal y'all conjured up through that, or?
Yeah, you know, basically one of the things about this is like, you know, it's really kind of an overall philosophy. I mean, there's a lot of love and passion that goes into what we do here. A lot of physical work as well, obviously. But when it boils down to it, I mean, we all love beer, and that's why we're here. And for us to really kind of pour our hearts into this one, we just thought it would be appropriate to call it Rosé Amour, you know, just play a little Little pun there.
That's sweet.
Yeah, the first one that we released was called Hawaiian Roadrunner, and it was a tropical blonde ale that we used guava and pineapple in. And Kat, my wife, and I, we actually went on our first vacation in like 7 years, about a year and a half ago, to Hawaii. And we were hiking through this forest, and there were all these wild guava plants, and we just started picking them off the trees, if you will, and started eating those. And it was incredible. And, had some of the best pineapple that we'd ever have in our entire lives. And in the name itself, the Hawaiian Roadrunner, I don't know if any of you have seen the packaging for it, but obviously it's not on the market now, but it's a chicken on it. And one of the things that we saw everywhere we went, all over Hawaii, there were chickens everywhere.
Oh, okay, wow.
Didn't matter if it was at the beach or up in the mountains. And so we started calling them Hawaiian Roadrunners.
That's funny.
And so that's kind of how that one came together. The next release that's coming out is called Smash Experiment. And we've basically turned it into something that is super simple. So we've done some pretty extreme stuff, and used a lot of different fruits and all of these things. And this one we wanted to kind of take it back and just go the polar opposite. And so it's literally it's a single hop, single malt beer, and we were using a Pilsner malt for the base, or for all the malt actually. And then we're going to use Calypso hops at the very end of the boil to really just give it a nice aroma and a mild bitterness.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be about 6% and about 34 IBUs, but it's going to be, with the heat coming up, it's going to be one that you can definitely crush for sure.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That'd be perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. What is your vision on the long term of R&D Series? I mean, are y'all going to continue on? You're just going to continue on through with those?
That's a good question. I mean, we're definitely, we're gonna keep having fun and being experimental, because that's part of it. I mean, it's part of the whole thing in brewing is just trying to develop something that might be a little bit different. And also to kind of push ourselves in a technical manner to do something right and have people enjoy it. And again, like the Smash Experiment, the Blonde Ale, it sounds very simple to make, but in essence, it's actually a very difficult beer to make, because you only have 2 ingredients going into it, really. I mean, other than, you obviously have your yeast and your water, but as far as the malt and the hops are concerned. And so it's a delicate beer to make. And so that's what we're going to be focusing on in the next couple of weeks with the Smash Experiment.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. Do y'all do any barrel aging, or?
Yeah, we do a little bit of barrel aging here. The current barrel aged beer that we have out is Something Shady, our porter.
Oh, okay.
And you can find that on draft at select bars and restaurants. It was a super we only actually packaged about 50 quarter barrel kegs of that, we aged them in Garrison Brothers bourbon barrels for just over 4 months. And I don't know if you've had Something Shady or a porter, but it's a really nice kind of Texas style porter where you get those chocolate and coffee notes, but it doesn't really weigh you down.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know what I mean?
So
whenever it's hot outside, you can still have them and it just not crush you.
Yeah.
And so with the barrel aged version, it went from about, 5.5%, it went up to about 8%, but you get these just incredible notes from those barrels in this beer, and so you should definitely look out for that on draft.
Yeah, no, that sounds real good.
Yeah.
I know we kind of just jumped right into the R&D series, but what's the story behind your passion for brewing? I mean, what really got you into brewing?
It's kind of funny. My wife, actually. We were living in upstate New York.
Wow.
Yeah, we're both. My wife and I are from Texas, but she was getting her MBA at Cornell at the Johnson School, and they were having a homebrew competition. And so one day she came home and said, "Hey, Brent, I signed us up for a homebrew competition." I was like, "Well, that's pretty incredible. Wait a minute, we don't know how to make beer, but I'm sure we could figure it out." So we started brewing in our kitchen, which was about the size of the palm of your hand. And after about the third batch, we really fell in love with brewing and decided that, let's look into see if this is something that we could actually do. And so we put our heads together and put a business plan together, and here we are.
That's awesome. Have y'all? This is the original building. I mean, y'all.
It is, yeah.
And this is brand new and everything.
Yeah.
Wow,
we're the first brewery to build from the ground up in Dallas proper in like over 100 years.
Wow. Holy moly.
So it's been a true blessing, and it's been incredible to be able to come and make delicious beer every day.
Yeah, for sure on that. That is for sure. And are y'all looking at expanding at all or anything like that over time?
Well, obviously, it's the beer business is a volume business, but we built this building to do a lot of barrelage, so we're set for a while.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. All we have to do is drop in more fermentation space and just keep rocking.
Yeah, that's great. That's you already had the vision in mind. A lot of times you don't find that. A lot of times, they're like, crap, we need more space.
Right, yeah.
So they're looking for it on that end, playing ahead a little bit.
Yeah, when we talk to a lot of brewers and business and brewery owners, before we started even working on the project, and basically, we try to learn as much as we could through, their failures. What would they do different, And so we talked to a ton of people before we even put plans together for this brewery, and it's nice to have a purpose-built brewery. It functions well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Are y'all going to be doing any events or? Going to any events or anything?
Yeah. We always hit up all the beer festivals and all that jazz, and then we have a bunch of different events here at the brewery throughout the year. So you have to check us out on Instagram and follow us on Facebook and all that jazz just to get updates. But yeah, we have a ton of different stuff going on here at the brewery. This weekend is actually Foodies at Night, which is going to be a really fun event. And they're going to be shutting the streets down here at the brewery part of Saturday, and there's going to be about I think there's like 40 food vendors going to be out here.
Man,
and lots of good beer from us, and it's going to be a good time.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's some good stuff. I like that. I just had a question in mind. I completely escaped me there.
No worries. But I guess, just overall, the R&D Series is really just a way for us to be creative throughout the whole process. With the beers, and have fun with them, and the packaging, and just really put those things together into something that, that everybody can enjoy. And it just, again, allows us to do things that we typically wouldn't do with our core, and it's been a lot of fun.
Expand the bounds of creativity just a little bit on that end.
Yeah,
that's awesome
for sure.
Yeah, I guess one of the kind of final questions here was, the extra handle you have there with homebrew beer. That's so. How do you go about doing that?
Well, we do a homebrew competition here called White Rabbit. And the name of that's kind of funny because my father-in-law, who he works with us, and he does a lot of business development and helps us gain some amazing accounts. And one of his favorite things to do, and this is kind of weird to me, but he blends 50-foot Jackrabbit and the Caucasian together, and came up with the name White Rabbit.
That's true. My own experimental brew.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. And so each time someone wins or something?
Basically, so we do one per quarter, and the winner of each round gets to come down and brew a barrel batch with us on our pilot system.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun, and they always enjoy it, and then we just put it on and let them have it in the tap room.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool way to kind of be involved in the community and in a different aspect, that most people don't think about on that end. You know, most people think, okay, community, I'm going to, some donation or fundraiser or whatever it may be, which is great. But it's also very interesting whenever you actually go into kind of another avenue to home brewers most people don't even think about.
Right.
And then, it gives them a chance to kind of shine forth and, kind of start living their own dream.
Yeah, it does.
And get a little exposure for themselves. So that's really cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And basically we have the competition, and then, there's a whole tasting panel of judges and scorecards and everything. So, they get to have some feedback on their beers, and it's just a good way to help them kind of let other people have their beers. Because, whenever we were brewing at home, that's what we did, right? We basically just brewed, and we, gave it to as many of our friends and family as we could, and, got feedback on them and tweaked things from there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a good deal. Giving back to community. That's awesome stuff. Well, and do appreciate your time on that end. And so if y'all ever want to come check it out, it's Texas Ale Project over here in Dallas. Try their awesome core beers, as well as check out their new R&D series, see what kind of experimental brews they have conjured up, and just go ahead and give them a shout, and also check them out on social media. Thank you all for listening, and cheers.
Cheers. Have a great afternoon or day or morning, whatever.
Whatever time it is. That's for sure there.
Cheers.
Later.